Welcome one, welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how great 10.5-inch third members are in Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler. Joining me outdoors in the wild is one and only Mr. Wild Jet. How are you doing, Mr. Jet?
I'm doing okay.
You're okay?
We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm not.
You seem a little out of it
I'm
today.
a little out of it. I'm definitely working on some drugs. The mini assistant came down with a cold, and then she's all better now. But now the assistant and I are a little under the weather. We did the COVID. I did a COVID test this morning just to make sure because I was coming over here to the studio. There's a lot of people here. There's some other things going on in the background that I just want to make sure that everything's going to be okay. And yeah, I was negative, but yeah, it's just it was a rough night. I didn't sleep very well, very congested. And yeah, I'm taking some decongestants and things, and I'm a little loopy and sort of out of it today. So I
had a very rough night Saturday night. I haven't told you yet.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't heard any real updates in regards to this weekend in Rubithon. And I was just listening to Total Offroad podcast, and Derek was reviewing or talking about his first few days out on the Rubicon.
What the hell? They beat us to it?
Yeah.
That bastard.
Well, their episode comes out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And ours comes out on Thursday.
Whatever.
So, but they only did first 2 days. So they haven't, their next one will come out next week, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But it was, I heard some things about him meeting you and seeing you out on the trail and hearing their experience. And it was kind of fun to listen to his story about, that was his first time on the Rubicon.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun to hear that side of the trail.
Yeah.
Because you and I have been on the Rubicon countless times.
Yeah.
And, it's like we know every corner. We know almost every rock, we know our lines that we usually do, except now that you have a new rig. Yeah, you don't know any of it. But
nope.
It's, back when we had your old rig, you knew exactly where to place your tires for almost every obstacle.
Yeah.
And it's fun to hear a newbie's story about how the trail's difficult.
That's
and how
what
it's
I love.
Gorgeous.
I love taking newbies on new trails. Not necessarily newbies on. I like taking people on new trails.
Yes,
because they're especially up here in NorCal. We've been on a lot of the trails. We know them all, but it's seeing that excitement in other people and getting to kind of almost relive that excitement through them is a lot of fun for me. So
I agree. Yeah, I wish I was able to wheel with Dirt Lifestyle and Kelly out on Fordyce because they both have never done that trail before.
Yeah.
Kelly has never done Rubicon, so it was kind of fun talking to him about the trail. But to go on Fordyce with them would have been a blast.
Yeah.
Even though it looked like it was a rainy, nasty mess.
Yes.
I'm kind of glad I didn't go out there.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Let's see here. We have a little bit of housekeeping to get to.
Yes.
A lot of it, I guess, for Thursday episode here. We've got some FNGs, some birthdays, some winners to announce, all the wieners. We have some voicemails to get to. We'll see if we have time. I know that I have a lot of updates from the weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll save that for Monday's episode, depending on how long housekeeping goes.
Yeah.
So
that'll work. Why don't we just jump into the FNGs and birthdays then, and then we can talk about the winners from there.
It's cool.
We have one FNG for the month of August, and that was Brandon Green.
Brandon
Green?
Brandon
Not
Green?
Brennan Green. Not Brennan Green.
Okay.
Or Jason Green.
Yeah. Too many greens.
There are too many greens. But here, Brandon, you are welcome to come to my color party whenever I have one of those. Big thank you.
How does a color party work?
Anybody with the last name of that is a color.
Oh, so I can't go?
No.
That's
your last name's not a color, but you can probably make it a color. You can invent a color and name it.
Oh, okay. I'll do that.
Name.
I'll do that.
There you go. Then you can come to my party.
Okay. I'll be baby poop green. How's that? That's Larson's color.
No, it needs to be Larson. Oh, Larson's a baby poop green?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's such a horrible color. Why would you do that?
I don't know.
So how do you normally do this? So that was our FNG for August, and now you do September birthdays?
September birthdays.
Awesome. Okay, so last year,
I'm
1
surprised
year.
you're asking me how I do it because I've messed it up the last 2 months.
Maybe. Yanni Smith.
Yanni. Yo, Yanni.
How's it going? I love your first gen 4Runner.
Oh, just somebody else has my first gen 4Runner. It's under a new owner now, and I saw it posted on the Rubicon trail page, and I was like, pretty sure that's mine, but I'm gonna hold off saying anything for now until I confirm, and I got it confirmed. So
okay,
yeah, somebody has my first gen 4Runner. Somebody new.
Somebody new. Wow, I'm surprised they got rid of it.
Yeah, he moved to Idaho, or he moved.
Oh,
I think it was Idaho. He moved out of California.
Okay, well that makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right, so 2020, we had a few.
2020, that's 3 years ago?
3 years?
3-year birthdays?
Do you
have any 4 years?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far back yet. Okay. So no 2 years for 2021s, but we do have 3 September 2020 birthdays.
Nice.
We've got Lenny LePage.
Lenny, Mr. Ford fucking Ranger.
Yeah. We have Charles Locke.
Oh, the Australian. Well, what kind of Australian was he? Did he say? He's like a Texas Australian?
Texan Australian?
I think he's the Texan Australian.
And then all it says is Andre. But is that our Estonian?
It could either be Estonian Andre or FJ80 Andre.
Yeah, all it says is Andre. So we'll have to figure that one out for future.
Estonian Andre might be moving to California.
I heard that.
Yeah, that'll be kind of cool if he ends up over here. So
we do have a 4-year September birthday.
Who is it?
It's Reggie Miller.
Reggie.
Yeah,
nice.
Awesome. Thanks, Reggie, for all your support for all these years.
Yeah, dude.
Too awesome. Love it. Let's see. So moving on from there, we've got the giveaways for these are for the Spartan, soft shackle,
receiver hitches.
Sweet. Should we just open this box right now?
Yeah, open it. I want to take a look at these.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't seen them in person yet.
All right, so we've now received ours. They just shipped to us, and I haven't given names or addresses out to Nye about the winners yet. So you guys have to wait a few weeks. But I'm setting the mic down.
Yeah. That looks dangerous one-handed.
Did I give you the right one by luck? I did.
Looks like it.
Yeah. Oh, there's the emblem. I didn't notice. So this one has a little yellow on it. So didn't notice that first. Yeah, all right. Let's look at these. Ooh, that's pretty.
They turned out great.
These are awesome.
I love the matte finish on the anodizing.
Yeah. Look at the yellow.
Oh, that's a great yellow. It like shimmers.
It's almost
in different
gold.
Angles. Yeah.
Almost gold. It looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
These are awesome.
Yeah,
I like how it sort of has a hex head for where it would pop out of the hitch.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of neat, have that design. And then, the round edges so that your soft shackle won't get cut.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
got a big hole.
A big hole. It's got a big hole.
It does have a big hole. Working load
all the
limit.
Specs,
12,000 pounds. Minimum braking strength, 60,000 pounds.
Dang.
That's pretty impressive.
That's really rad.
5/8 hitch pin, tested and certified in the USA. And then 2-inch receiver hitch.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I like the
These
yellow.
Turned out great.
Ooh, the black looks good because of the etching. Is it etching or silica? No, it's an etching.
Yeah, it's etching.
That's cool. Man, these things look badass.
Yeah, good job, man.
Let's see. Cool. So winners for that is the first one, which should we give them the pick of color? Because I think we're getting a black and a yellow.
Okay.
The first one was Douglas Higsby.
Oh, Douglas.
Yeah.
That's cool. Douglas is a fun dude. I keep running into him out at events.
Oh, good. Yeah. I don't know if I'm sure I've met him, but
he comes out to a lot of the Cal 4 events. That's where I seem to run into him at. Yeah, he's local here in the area somewhere.
Well, that works for us. Maybe local pickup. We don't need to ship it because the other one we have to ship.
Mm-hmm.
Because unfortunately, the other one goes to a YJ owner.
A Sherpa?
Sherpa.
God, we don't have to ship it. We'll just hand it off to
give it
Marlene.
To our plant lady friend.
Yeah. Did you see the shirt she was wearing?
Yeah, I wet my plants.
Yeah. I love that.
Did you see that she was hiking the JMT?
No.
Yeah, she went out to hike the JMT, which is the John Muir Trail.
Nice.
It goes from Yosemite to Mount Whitney, more or less.
Okay.
And it's a pretty recognizable trail.
Mm-hmm.
They got two or 3 days in, and then I think the person she was hiking with broke his ankle.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It wasn't Joe. It was somebody else. And then so she had to abort for the most part. And she's like, I want to do it again. And so I almost wrote her and said, I want to do it next year. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be a fun trip.
Yeah, congratulations, Douglas Higsby and Sherpa. Congratulations, you guys.
Sherpa.
Douglas,
God
you
dang
get
it.
a choice of a black or yellow, and then Sherpa, you get whatever's left over, like usual.
He's used to it. So
yeah,
after all the candy gets picked through.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's funny. Cool, man. So congrats, guys. That was August's giveaway. So we got all that in. September's giveaway is roughly $200 in some Gearwrench products. So we didn't bring those out here to our campfire recording session here, but they are in there. We talked about them earlier in a previous podcast, which items they were.
Yeah.
So
it's the Bolt Biters kit, the 3/8 1/4" and 3/8 kit. It's the Bolt Biter Screw Extractors, and then the Ratcheting hex key kit.
Gotcha.
33 piece.
That's right.
I remember.
You are correct. You have a better memory than I do.
I just saw him in the studio.
Gotcha. Well, cool. So that giveaway is going through the end of September. So make sure that you guys, if you want in on that you're over and locked in for the giveaway tier over at iRate 4x4. And let's see, the October is going to be gift box month.
It is.
Yeah. So we mentioned a campfire because we have some wood burning in the laser right now for one of the gifts for the gift
items
box.
In the gift box.
One of the items. So
yep, it does smell like a campfire out here.
It does. It's awesome. I love it. But yeah, so gift box month is open in October, which means the gift box tier will be open for everybody over at iRate 4x4. So if you want to move tiers and bump up to the gift box tier, bump down from the gift box tier, do an annual subscription to the gift box tier, whatever you want to do there, make sure you do it. It'll be open October 1st through October 31st.
Yes. And just also friendly reminder that we will be shutting down Patreon this month or in October.
Yep.
So if you are a Patreon member, you should have received an email from me. I already emailed you via Patreon and letting you know we're going to be shutting it down and we're going to be moving in October. So you have your chance at the end of this month to sign up for whatever tier you want to get into during the month of October on iRate 4x4.
Yeah, definitely. So go check those updates out and keep them in mind as we move to October. October is going to be a big month for the supporters of the channel. So
yeah, there are only 9 people on Patreon.
Yep.
And most of them are $5.
Yeah. So let's see here. What else can we talk about? Any other updates, or did we get through housekeeping fairly quick?
I think that should be pretty good. I mean, I know you have a ton of fun stories and I can't wait to hear about the suspension and how that worked. Cause I did see a post that you got down to Rubicon Springs in like an hour and 15 minutes,
an hour and 10
minutes. And it took me 2 hours and 10 to 15 minutes to get down there. So you did it an hour faster than I did.
Yep.
I wasn't really scooting and I stopped for a little bit of time, like maybe 10 to 15, but that's still crazy that you got down there so fast.
It's pretty crazy. I could have gone faster, but there was mud puddles that I kept slowing down for. And I stopped at observation to get a couple pictures. Did we want to do voicemails before we get into that? Or do we want to just get into how the weekend went and how the Forerunner worked?
Are any of the voicemails, do a quick scan and see if any of the voicemails are relevant.
There's one about Dirt Lifestyle Nate and him being around. There's one about South Florida and the Super Winch group buy, which I think would go pretty quick. And
all right, well then that's 2 out of the 3. So let's just do let's do the voicemails.
Okay. So first one is one of our favorite Land Rover people. We only have 2.
Hey there, Mr. Jet.
Hey, Donnie.
Oh, and Tyler. Yeah, you too.
Whatever.
Saw you were hanging out up at the Springs with Mr. Dirt Lifestyle Nate and his 80 Series Cruiser.
I was.
It'll be interesting. I'm hoping he puts out a nice compare and contrast now that we know he's not brand specific and he owns 2 mid-90s, quote, luxury SUVs now. He has his Discovery 2 and his, I guess technically Lexus as opposed to Toyota, but 80 series. I know he's, running a little bigger tire and things on the on the Yoda there, 40 versus a 37, I believe. But, it'd be really interesting to hear his opinion. Now, I understand that's probably not fair, given one of them has demonstrated some significant mechanical unreliability and blown head gaskets. Of course, that's probably not the one the generic people on the internet would think it was. Let's just say it wasn't part of the allies that had that issue. Anyway, with that, I don't feel I even have to add my traditional parting. Have fun out there, guys. Keep crawling and all that. We'll see you later.
Yeah, he did have a head gasket, or I think it was a head gasket, a radiator issue at some point during one of the shootings. There was an overheat issue. I do remember that in the Lexus.
Lee Lim's Lexus had one too.
This weekend?
Yeah, radiator issue.
Interesting.
We'll get to that.
Maybe there's a theme here. Wow. Okay. But yeah, I did talk to Nate for a little while we were out there on the trail, and he does have some plans. He wants to lift it a little bit more because it only has a 1-inch lift on it. And then he fit 39 BFG 39s, which are probably more like 38s.
Yeah.
With a lot of cutting.
Yeah.
So even in his video, he stated that he wants to go full widths and he wants to lift it another inch or two from where it's currently sits.
I told him that if he wanted to do some really fun axles, I know a really good formula.
Yeah.
For
I'm sure you do. But yeah, it would be interesting. He's done a bunch of compare and contrasts in the past with his Tacoma versus the Gladiator. And then he just did one about the FJ80 or the Lexus versus the new Tacoma. And he compared those off-roading wise. So it might be an interesting video to see him compare the quote luxury 90s vehicles with that Discovery in the Lexus.
Yeah.
So that could be fun.
That could be fun. We'll have to chat with him. Send him a text.
Send him this message. Send him your message.
Yeah. All right. Next one is from South Florida.
Ooh, okay.
Florida.
Good afternoon, Snail Trail. This is Matt. I'm down in South Florida. I wanted to call and say a big thank you for the Super Winch group buy. I just received mine the other day. I have a new Barnes 4-wheel drive DIY bumper on its way also that I will have to weld together. I just wanted to say Jeeps rule and Toyotas rule, and I hope you guys are having a good day. Talk to you later.
Fuck off, Matt.
Thanks for calling in. Tyler, I can't believe he sold a Super Winch to a Jeep owner.
I know. I didn't know. He didn't inform me.
Yeah, that's just embarrassing. I think next time we need to put stipulations on our group buys, I guess.
God damn it, Matt.
Way to ruin the fun.
It's all right. His Jeep bumper will fall apart anyway. So
maybe. Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in, Matt. Good to hear from you. All the way in South Florida.
Yeah. I didn't know that there was any wheeling in South Florida.
And beaches, maybe. You get stuck in the sand, he needs that winch.
I figure it was all just bath salts and cocaine.
Maybe. You could probably wheel to like some of those islands out there.
That's true. Some of the keys.
Yeah. Get a really big snorkel.
There you go. Thanks for calling, man. Let's see. Last one.
Okay.
Ooh, it's about portals.
Ooh, okay.
Let's see what's going on here. I don't see a name.
Hey, you missed the obvious combo of 74 weld portals for a later model Toyota, custom A-arms, and either the stock diff or maybe, later model Toyota front diff and Toyota rear axle. I think that would be the best combo. The Duramax stuff is when the rear axle is 11.5, and you'll give up all your ground clearance and then some. The front, I don't know. That's kind of big. Do body swap a rusty Duramax truck would make more sense. Bye.
That would be interesting.
That is definitely an option we did not discuss or think about, was just doing a Tacoma suspension swap and putting portals on it.
Yeah. I had a few people write in about axles as well.
Oh, nice. I didn't have anybody write me about axles. I'm a little disappointed now.
The Wizard 891.
That's my buddy.
Yeah. Wrote in, and he said, my take on the listener question, Ford or Chevy Kingpin, front Dana 70, or front Kingpin, rear Dana 70. He said that the benefit of those is you can get the gearing lower down to a 6.17 or a 717. That's what Fred Williams did in the Clampy. Another option that we didn't talk about, which is another great option, is a 9-inch.
Yeah, that's an easy option, though. That's no fun.
Yeah. Super Duty 14 bolts are limited to 538s.
That's a good gear ratio. I like 538.
It is a good gear ratio. And then he says, without a V8, it would be hard to drive that on the road with 40s or 42s.
I drive 529s on the road just fine.
Yeah.
With a V6.
Yeah. I don't know. I said, thanks for the feedback. 9 inches would be an interesting one. It's similar to the Land Cruiser. Yeah. I said, curious, did the Kingpins come in passenger side drop? I don't know much about those axles. And he said, yes, they did.
Yeah.
Dodges and Chevys.
Oh, Dodges too?
Yeah.
Late 70s? Did he say what years?
Didn't say what years.
Oh, I thought that it was only the late 70s Chevys had the Kingpin passenger drops.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what year the Dodges then.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with those. I definitely need to learn more about full widths.
Yeah.
I've got my mini truck axle talk down. But
right.
Yeah. So a lot of good information. Thanks, Wizard. It's always fun to hear from listeners messaging us and giving us other alternatives or telling us where we're wrong. It's all fun.
He disagrees with leaf blowers, by the way.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he just blow the leaves into somebody else's yard. That's fun.
Oh, man. Anyway, so that was a cool one. Yeah, 9-inch definitely. 9-inch. Once you're in 9-inch territory, the world's your oyster. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I almost went 9-inch
instead of 10.5s.
Instead of 10.5s, just because I didn't go that route because I was like, everybody's done 9-inch before. Like it's anything you could do with 9-inch has pretty much been done.
Right. Understood.
So I wanted to have a little bit more fun with it.
Yeah. Well, I did get to finally see Kermit or Bullfrog in person. And man, those axles are huge.
They're massive.
Yeah. And you have a lot of scratches underneath them already.
I do. A lot of them. Did you see the beadlock rings?
No, I did not. I didn't. I couldn't have room to get on side of your vehicle because all the other vehicles are parked too close to you on the sides.
Here, I need to go get the cardboard that have all the dimensions. The before and after comparison measurements.
You're going to bring Kermit around here so we can
Kermit
look at
around
it?
the back. Yeah,
perfect.
Around
okay.
Here. All right. Pause. And welcome back to the show, everybody.
Yeah. Welcome back. And those rock rings are trashed already.
Yeah, brand new.
Brand new.
First run out.
Yeah, just still learning how to drive, apparently, huh?
Pretty much, yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's a learning curve. I don't know where the wheels are anymore.
Sure, I get that. That's funny.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's start there. Let's start with the measurements, right?
Okay.
So I have before and after measurements. I took the rig before the suspension and axle upgrade and took a bunch of different measurements. I got my flex underneath the rear tire. And so that is picking up one of the rear tires with a forklift.
Okay.
Until the front tire on that same side comes off the ground.
Sure.
So I have that for the rear and the front tires. I've got frame height. I have transfer case skid height.
Okay.
I have differentials. So clearance underneath the diffs.
Got it. Okay.
Wheelbase, track width front and track width rear.
Okay, cool. And this was Kermit when it was on mini truck axles, but it was still on 40s. So it was on these exact same 40s.
Exact same tires. Yep.
Yeah. So the tire isn't changing. So the measurements are pretty much all sort of staying similar, like underneath diff and stuff like that. Yep. Okay, cool. Although and
I took all the measurements at the same tire pressure as well. And that's going to be a key difference that we'll learn about in a second here.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you just give us just for an example, give us like the rear tire height and then give us before and after instead of telling us all befores and then all afters.
Okay. So rear tire flex.
Yep.
Was 30 inches below the tire.
Okay.
Before
with leaf springs before. Yeah.
After is 39 inches.
Wow. Okay. 9 inches more.
And that's with I should be able to get, I think, another 2 inches out of it, 2 to 3 inches.
Oh, got it.
I need to, I did something to play with the rear coilovers and it was not the right thing to do. So I need to undo it.
Talk to Brian and get those answers correct.
Yep. I got to talk to Brian and see what he would recommend there. So before Ori measured flex at about 41 inches underneath.
Was that before the coils were on?
That was before I messed with the coils.
Got it.
So
don't mess with the coils.
I know, but it was sagging in the rear, so I needed to unrake the vehicle, and I think I should have done something else, but I need to talk to Brian to confirm. So.
Got it. Okay.
Front tire.
Front tire
was 28 inches before.
Okay.
Underneath the tire, and now it's 39 inches.
Wow. 10 inches more.
So 11 inches
11 inches more and 9 inches in the rear.
Yep.
Dang.
And I think I can get that up to 11 inches in the rear and 13 inches in the front.
Cool.
More than what I was getting.
Okay.
Which is huge.
I need to bring Bobcat over so we can do these same tests. That'd be fun.
Frame height before
was
30 inches.
Oh my gosh. So tall.
Yeah. Now it's 29 inches.
What?
Yeah.
Looks so much lower.
It does look a lot lower than what it actually is. And I think it's just because of how freaking wide it is.
Yeah.
But Ori, he had measured it before, and I was coming out 5 inches, almost 5, so about 4.5 inches lower than what I was before.
So what changed?
Tire pressures.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he had it at street pressure when he was doing it. So trail pressure, yeah, I'm a lot lower.
Yeah, but you were.
I'm not. I didn't take the before measurements at trail pressure.
Well, if you went down 4 inches, you would, regardless, it would be the same.
Yeah, exactly.
So you roughly when you go down to whatever you go down, like 5 psi or whatever you do, you go down 4 inches
roughly.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. So frame. So essentially, and then that is mimicked on the transfer case skid plate.
Sure. That makes sense.
I was 25 3/4 inches before. Now I'm 24.5.
Okay.
So 1 1/4 inch lower at the transfer case, and 1 inch lower on the frame. The rear lower control arm brackets on the frame are 23.5 inches.
Okay.
So they stick down from the frame 6.5 inches.
Right.
Which I thought
from the frame or the axle?
From the frame.
Oh, the control arm brackets.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. Frame side control arm brackets stick down from the frame about 6.5 inches.
Okay.
Which I thought that was my biggest concern.
Okay. Yeah.
With Brian's suspension kit, that was my biggest concern.
Well, and that was your concern on any suspension kit. Is you didn't want that hanging down. You didn't want that anchor point on there. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll get back to that. I'm just pointing that out there. That I thought that was my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Differentials.
I'm interested about this one.
I had 14 inches of ground clearance before.
Okay.
And I have 12.5 now.
Interesting.
So I lost 1.5 inches of ground clearance
by going from an 8-inch to a 10.5.
Yeah.
That's not as bad as I would have thought.
I went up 2.5 inches and lost 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
So
wow. Kudos diamond, I guess.
Yep.
It's a good, well packaged axle housing.
Yeah. Wrapped it pretty well.
Yeah.
Around that ring gear. So wheelbase.
Yeah. Yes.
I was 105 before. I'm 107.5 now. So I increased the wheelbase 2.5 inches, and that was pretty much all in the front axle.
Right.
Yep. Let's see.
So wait, what are you now?
107.5.
It seems so small.
It seems, I agree. It is a lot shorter than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought I was in the 112 to 114 range.
Yeah.
But I'm only 107.5 now.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Right.
Bobcat's like 127.
Yeah.
Or 125 or something like that. Yeah.
Now the fun one.
Yes.
Where the big change was.
Where did you measure this one? Outside lugs?
Yep.
Okay.
Or so outside sidewall.
Sidewall?
Sidewall is what I shot for, yeah.
Okay.
So sidewall front track width.
Yes.
74 inches before.
Okay.
87.25 now.
Holy crap.
So 13.25 inches wider in the front.
Yes. It looks like it.
Yes, it does. Track width in the rear.
Okay.
So outside sidewall was 73 inches before.
Huh. It was an inch shorter.
It was an inch shorter in the rear than the front. Yeah.
Interesting.
Now it's 89.25 in the rear.
And now it's an inch wider than the front.
It's 2 inches wider than the front.
2 inches wider in the front.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do that because of the short, like you didn't have enough axle tube.
I didn't have enough axle tube on the long side. Literally, I didn't cut the long side axle tube at all.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So
and you couldn't shorten the rear because you already had the axle shafts.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was kind of tied to that WMS because of the axle shafts. I got both of the axle shafts, custom RCV 300M axles that go from 36 spline to 35 spline for $400 for both of them.
Yeah, that's the price of one.
Exactly. No, that's a third the price of one.
What's one's $1,000?
Yeah, right about there, $1,000 to $1,100.
Okay.
What is that? 16 1/4 inches wider in the rear.
Yeah.
And 13 1/4 wider in the front.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it looks fantastic.
It does look amazing. I am in love with how everything turned out.
Yeah.
With how everything turned out looking.
Sure.
Like the stance is amazing. I think I have enough room in the front to go to 42s. Okay. And not have to clear anything, I think.
Wow.
But in order to go 42s in the rear, I either need to limit the bumps or open up the fenders and retub the fenders.
Yeah.
In the rear.
And move your gas tank filler.
Yep. And move the gas tank neck. Yep. So I don't know if I'm going to go to 42s because that's like 50 hours of work to retub the rear and make it all fit in the rear for an inch of ground clearance. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, that's an inch of ground clearance at air down probably also.
True. That is true. So anyways, I like the 40s. I love the Yokohama tires. They're doing awesome. I love the way the build came out looking. The clearances in the front are tight, but everything clears beautifully.
Yeah. All designed that way.
It was all designed that way. Yep. The axles, I wasn't sure was really going to work. I'm not going to lie. Nobody's done this as far as I can tell. I still haven't found anybody that's ever done this formula on axles before. And so putting this all together and making it work, I had some reservations about whether or not it was actually going to be feasible.
Sure.
I'm like, I may just be throwing away $12,000 after this. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it works great. It works fantastic. So
awesome.
Yeah. 10.5-inch dropout thirds, front and rear. So the same third member front and rear with 529s and E-lockers.
Yeah. Eaton
E-lockers.
Okay.
Yep, in there. Mm-hmm. The same unit bearing, all four corners.
Yes.
So Super Duty 05 and up unit bearings, all four corners.
Same brakes on all four
Same
corners.
brake package, all four corners. So the same rotors, same calipers. And then the Willwood parking brakes, electronic parking brakes in the rear, which I haven't set up yet.
Okay.
But the brackets are all there ready to go. I just need to set them in and then wire everything up.
Right. Got it.
So yeah, I'm super happy with how the axles turned out. I hit the diffs a few times. You can see.
Yes, you did. I see it.
That 1.5 inches of ground clearance is quite a bit, apparently.
It's not what you're used to.
No, it's not what I'm used to. The diffs are luckily in the same spot as they were before.
More or less, yeah.
I know where they are. I'm hitting smaller rocks now.
Stuff that you used to be able to drive over. Now you can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm having to pay more attention now as to where I drive. Let's see, hitting stuff.
Yes, like your rock rings.
My rock rings, they were brand new and there's chunks missing out of all four.
Well, now you have to take different lines and you have to, don't fit through things anymore.
I don't. And
it looks like you're trying to still fit through things.
I am. Yeah. So what I've realized that from my old mindset of fitting through things with the narrower axles, I would still try and do that. Right. So if like there were two rocks I know I wasn't going to fit through, I would just try and squeeze through or go over both of them.
Okay.
And so what happens, or like I'll try and get just up enough on one of them so that the other one squeezed through.
Sure. Right.
And I can't do that.
No.
Because as you go up on one rock, the wheel cantilevers and leans over into the one I'm squeezing by, right?
Sure.
And so having to adjust my mental state of wheeling and just say, I need to go high over one rock or the other and give myself a foot of clearance on the other side. I've been noticing that is the key to wheeling the wide rig like this.
Got it. Okay.
But the super nice thing about that is because I'm so much wider, I am so stable.
Yes. My question was going to be about Indian Trail.
I didn't do Indian Trail.
Oh.
We'll get there.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get into how the weekend went, but I didn't do Indian Trail. But coming down Cadillac, there's a couple spots where I did a high side up on a hill, off camber on Cadillac, just to kind of see. And there's a couple spots coming down Big Sluice too that you can do that.
Yeah.
And I never felt even close to tipping over.
Awesome. That's so cool.
And so that having the stability, the off camber stability combined with
the articulation,
13 more inches of articulation, whatever it is, means that I can go up and over stuff just fine and still maintain traction everywhere.
That's awesome.
So getting used to that mindset and mentality of just going up and over something and it's going to be fine. That was the big change that I had to make the mental adjustment for over the weekend.
Cool.
Making that mental adjustment was, one thing. And then being concerned about the lower control arm brackets.
Yeah. Okay.
Hanging down 6.5 inches from the frame. If I'm going up and over rocks now, that puts those brackets in the way.
Sure.
Right.
Understood.
To hit them.
How much farther down is that bracket? So if that's 6 and some change from your frame, how much farther down is your T-case skid?
Let's see. So the bracket is at 23.5 and the TK skid is 24.5.
Okay.
So I'm not typically taking a rock down the middle of the rig, right?
Correct.
I'm taking rocks under my tires.
Down your sides. Yeah.
And so I thought that lower control arm bracket was going to be in the way, right? Because that's the problem I have with the Bronco. That lower control arm bracket is right in front of the fucking tire. So anytime I go to climb stuff, I catch that bracket on everything.
Right.
This is what I love about the 2nd gen 4Runner platform for building like this.
Okay.
The body and the frame rails are so much narrower than my tires.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because I'm
axles
freaking
are so
wide.
wide.
I'm so wide that I never once contacted those brackets. And I don't think I will have a problem with those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder if you had narrower axles, if that would
maybe if I was still into the Toyota axles. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we'll find out when I do mine.
Right?
Actually, I don't know if I have those brackets.
I don't think you do because you have a 4-link in the rear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, my other big concern that I was worried about was the lower shock brackets.
Yes.
In the rear.
Yes.
For the rear coilovers. They stick down from the axle tube about 5 inches.
Okay. Yeah.
They're almost lower than the diff.
Wow.
I was thinking that was going to be a big problem.
Yes.
Not that big of a problem.
It didn't really affect it?
It did, but just like anything else, you just have to learn where they are.
Okay.
Right?
Well, and I guess the thing that you need to do is learn where your tire is, because you want to put your tire on the rock.
Exactly.
And not have the rock slide under your axle.
Yeah.
Because now you have a bracket of obscuring that option, where before we could probably sneak by a boulder between our diff and our tire.
Yeah.
But now that's not an option for you.
Yeah. And so the downside to this is because I'm so wide, I have fewer line options.
Yes.
And there was one spot in the trail this weekend where I had no option but to drag those coilover mounts over the rocks.
Okay.
The nice thing about them is that they are very ramped.
Yes, they are.
They're a big ramp back there. So going forward, not too big of an issue.
Okay.
Going back, if I have to reverse over a rock, might be an issue. I never needed to though yet. So we'll see how that goes. I do need to gusset those. For some reason, Ori didn't put the gussets on, but I do have the gussets, so I'm going to put them on.
Okay.
But yeah, that was another big concern of mine. And towards the end of the beginning of the weekend, I was definitely hitting them.
Yes.
Towards the end of the weekend, I was figuring out where they were and I wasn't hitting them really.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of learning where they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
The really nice thing about that setup is that I don't have holes up into my cargo area for the coilovers. Yeah. That's the trade-off.
That's the benefit of those, right?
Yeah.
You got this lower bracket, which allows the shock to go below your axle instead of mounting the shock to your axle and popping a hole into the bed of your 4Runner, let's say, through the fender wells, making a big open cavity into your cab.
Yeah, exactly.
So that you're trading off that so that you can have good air conditioning.
Exactly. Yeah, and a clean cargo area.
Yeah.
Not get all muddy and dusty and dirty. So, okay, let's see. What else did I have concerns on? The wheel width, I have concerns on.
Wheel width?
Sorry, the track width.
Okay.
Track width, I had concerns on.
I want to know more about your steering.
Oh, good
Was
point.
there a vast difference in steering? You're wider now, so I think steering, and you're longer. So your turning radius is
a lot bigger.
Should be a lot bigger. But is your steering more aggressive than the Toyota is, thus making you be able to turn sharper?
Yes.
Okay.
So
cool.
This was something I figured was going to be a nice feature, but I didn't realize how much I absolutely love it.
Okay.
Until I started experiencing it.
Sure.
45 degrees of steering.
Holy cow. Really?
Yes. I get all 45 degrees of steering.
Wow.
It's amazing. And at full articulation too, I believe. Well, now that the bumper's on, I might not. I need to cut the ends off the bumper, I think.
Okay.
But full articulation, I get 45 degrees of steering.
That's crazy.
And coming down Cadillac, there's a couple of hairpin turns. And I was like, oh, before I would have to make this in 2 or 3 turns, or 2 or 3 backups, right?
Yeah.
I was able to make
3-point turns.
I was able to make the whole turn, no problem.
Like without hairpin at the bottom of Cadillac when you're coming down.
Yep.
Wow.
Made that awesome. No problem.
I have to 3-point turn that.
Yeah. It's so like the steering, I'm a lot wider. So I have fewer line choices, but I'm more maneuverable now.
Okay.
Which is I think a really, really nice compromise.
Yeah.
And for everything, but I absolutely love the steering.
That's cool.
Yes.
Well, that's another big bonus, for what you did, because you did go longer too.
I went 2.5 inches longer. So
that's a concern about your steering radius, but if you got a sharper turning steering available to you, then you'll be more maneuverable. That's rad. Cool.
I want to say stock Toyota Burfield's a turn 20 to 25 degrees.
Is that it?
It's a really small amount. Yeah. Oh, wow. And so I'm essentially doubling it.
That's crazy.
Doubling the turning degrees out of the knuckles. But yeah, I am longer and wider. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there, but I definitely can turn tighter than before.
Sweet.
Yeah. By a pretty decent margin.
Yeah. And all the hydro assist and everything that's on there worked phenomenal. I'm assuming, and that really helps out when you're doing those turning.
The hydro assist isn't working as well as I thought it would.
Okay.
But it still works just fine. It's not like it's not working. It's just not, I think I just need a bigger pump maybe for it. That would be my guess. Because it's a bigger ram, right? I had a 6-inch ram on it before, and now I have an 8.5-inch ram. So there's just more fluid to have to be pumped there to make it turn. And I think that the pump isn't fully keeping up.
Okay. Are you a stock pump?
Yes. Well, I'm not a stock pump, but I'm on a PSC pump for the Toyota 3.4 engine.
Right.
So it's pretty much the same size as the stock Toyota pump. Yeah. Let's see. What else? Wheeling the rig.
Yes.
And the suspension.
Okay.
The suspension geometry.
Yeah.
Fuck axle wrap. That is so nice to get rid of axle wrap.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh my God.
I bet.
Oh my God, it's amazing. You axle wrap, you go down the trail, you hit a rock that you need to climb over, and your whole axle wraps, and then it moves backwards due to your leaf springs. And then it finally gets enough forward push from your rear tires to start climbing. And then as you get to the top of it, the whole thing unloads on you as it goes back forward. And so getting up and over rocks with leaf springs, so annoying. And I killed my engine all the time.
Yes.
Because of
I know
axle
how
wrap.
that is.
Now, when I approach rocks, everything just climbs just immediately. It's like as soon as it touches the rock, it just goes up.
Nice.
It's amazing. I absolutely love getting rid of the axle wrap. Let's see. No bump steer at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Which just means that the panhard was set up correctly. The panhard geometry in the front, set up correctly. So no bump steer. I didn't really have bump steer on the leaf springs either.
No. So
I'm kind of like, I don't know what it's like to have bump steer. But I just know that, a lot of people have a lot of concerns about bump steer.
Okay.
And no bump steer whatsoever.
Yeah. How about diving?
No diving. I dive maybe a half an inch during hard braking.
Yeah.
Like diving is not, and it doesn't dive really.
Okay.
Like it's non-existent compared to the leaf springs and diving on leaf springs. It's non-existent.
That's awesome.
In the suspension. I do raise a little bit in the front. I raise maybe an inch and a half in the front during acceleration, but I know that that's because I wanted to keep the rig taller.
Yeah, that's your fault.
That's my fault. Exactly. Yeah. That's my fault. That's not a feature of Brian's kits. Brian does a really good job at making sure his lower control arms are parallel to the ground, and that's how you get rid of that thing. And mine are not perfectly parallel to the ground because I wanted to keep my rig taller.
Sure.
So that's on me. I understand that. The nice thing though is it doesn't do it at all in 4 low.
Oh, okay.
4 low or 4 medium, whatever.
So the torque doesn't affect it.
It's only happening on the street in 2-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I can live with that.
So it's sort of a speed of acceleration.
Yes. Yeah, it's the speed of acceleration. It's not happening while I'm on the trail.
Right. It's not a torque lift. It's a speed acceleration.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's more of a speed acceleration.
Well, that's perfect because you don't want to be trying to climb a mountain, really steep climb like Whalebones or something out in Moab and have that front end lifting off.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen when you're in 4 low. So that's fantastic.
Exactly. So let's see that. The big thing I had with the Forerunner or with the leaf springs was roll steer.
Okay.
And roll steer is when the body rolls, and when it rolls to one side, I think mine happened when I rolled to the passenger side. It pulls the drag link, which then pulls your steering.
Okay.
So when the body starts lifting and the chassis and everything starts lifting away from the axles due to body roll, it pulls on the drag link, which then pulls your steering. So it's called roll steer.
Okay.
I had roll steer bad with the leaf springs, and I just got used to it.
Okay. Yeah.
And like during articulation, when I really articulated the rig out, I got roll steer, and you just kind of get used to it. You get used to how to maneuver with it. No roll steer whatsoever.
Cool.
None. And the body roll is way less.
I bet. 100%.
So much less.
That's a coilovers feature right there.
That's the coilovers and the suspension having a good roll center built into the suspension that Brian does. It's awesome. The body just doesn't go. It stays level, which is fantastic.
Cool.
Let's see. So that's a trail performance. Oh, E-lockers.
Yeah.
E-lockers are fun on the trail because nobody knows when you're using them.
Okay. And why is that a benefit?
It's just because that way, if you're going up an obstacle or something, and then you get done with the obstacle and you let out the air lockers and it lets the air out, people go, "Oh, you cheated, used lockers." Now no one knows when I use them or not.
Yeah. I think I go with Justin from Factor 55 on that one.
I agree.
And it's a tool and you should use it whenever you need it.
I know, but that's not the camaraderie side of wheeling, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, I'm a spool in Detroit, so I can't ever turn mine off.
Exactly.
So.
No, I pretty much just engaged the rear the entire time I was on the trail.
Okay.
And then whenever I needed to climb something, then I turned on the front, 1 or 2 feet before I started climbing.
Cool.
And everything worked out. And what I found during climbing stuff and getting articulated, that I didn't really need the lockers. I kind of turned them off for a couple sections to see what would happen. And because it has so much flex and articulation, I maintain traction so much more.
Oh, that's an interesting
articulation. I don't need the lockers as much, but I still ran them anyways, just to make sure I don't end up stressing out components through wheel slippage or shocking the drivetrain.
Yeah, that's something I never would have thought about. Because on leaf springs, if you're maxed out your articulation, you pretty much have a tire off the ground.
Yeah.
But when you get more articulation, you're getting more traction, which completely makes sense. And I have never thought of it that way, but that completely makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was something I knew I'd get more articulation, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's, I know I'm going to do that, but I didn't think about the consequence of more traction due to more articulation for some reason.
Yeah.
And so that was a nice, pleasant surprise there.
That's cool. Well, it sounds like pretty much all the way around, axles, diffs, suspension, coils, all of it, right?
All of it.
It's a massive upgrade.
Massive upgrade. I knew it was going to be an upgrade. I didn't realize how much of a performance wheeling upgrade doing all this was.
Yeah.
And I will go on record right now by saying money does buy happiness, everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
So it wasn't cheap. And it took me 3 years to get it all planned out and do it all. But it's done. There's a couple things to tidy up with it all. But for the most part, I got the rig Sunday night and was out on the Rubicon Thursday evening.
Yeah. That's crazy. That is wild, that quick of a turnaround. But it's also, it just shows that once the kit's set up properly and everything is where it needs to be, you were ready to run. All you had to do was your own electrical work.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to rewire the whole vehicle again.
Yeah.
So I got that done Monday, Tuesday. Had to get drive shafts made. We'll talk about that.
How did that go?
You want to talk about that now?
I remember our last one of our last talks a week ago. I think we were saying how you spoke to Parts Mike and he said, "Yeah, we could get you drive shafts in time, no problem." So did that work out?
No. Which is, I believe I even said on the podcast, like, yeah, he said no problem, and I've never, anytime they've given a time frame in the past, they've always exceeded it.
Okay.
And so, I talked with Mike, who's the owner.
Yes.
He goes, yeah, no problem. Just get in there right when we open on Tuesday, and we can have your drive shafts made by Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I got there. They open at 8 a.m. I got there at 7:40.
Okay.
And talked to the front desk guy, and it was just like, hey, just want to confirm. I talked with Mike over the weekend, and he said that you guys would have no problem getting me out the door and get drive shaft made Wednesday by tomorrow afternoon. And he goes, yeah, you're pretty much first in line for this week, so you'll get knocked out first and shouldn't be an issue.
Sweet. Okay.
I was like, cool, awesome. So dropped off my old drive shaft so you can take the Toyota flanges and the double cardons off of the transfer case side.
Got it. Okay.
And then they were going to get the Tundra flanges and the yoke, the slip side, made it up to those.
Okay. Yeah.
So, my order got handed off to another sales guy, and he was like, okay, cool. I just want to make sure, what Tundra flanges do you need? And I was like, 2007 to 2020 rear axle Tundras. They should all be the same flange.
In theory, yeah.
And he goes, oh, there's a lot of Toyota flanges. I'm like, I'm not telling you Toyota flanges. I need a 2007 to 2020 Tundra rear flange. He goes, okay. He goes, all right, so what do you need on the front? I said, same thing. He goes, well, that's a rear flange. I was like, no, but I have that same third member in the front of my vehicle. And he goes, you can't, there's no vehicles like that. And I was like, I know.
You're right.
You are correct.
There is now.
Yeah.
There is one.
Exactly. I was like, I know. And I'd explain, I'm putting Tundra third members in the front and rear of my vehicle.
Yeah.
And he goes, you can just see his brain breaking or hear it over the phone. And he goes, okay, so what flange do you need? I was like, I need the 2 of the 2007 to 2020 rear Tundra flanges. And he goes, okay, yeah, there's only one part number here in the catalog, so I'll get that one. Can you come down and put it on your rig to make sure that all the holes line up? And I was like, well, if there's only one in the catalog and it matches what I'm asking, then no, because we're on a tight time deadline. Can we just...
Well, you can't bring the rig down there anyway.
Yeah, so he wanted me to go down.
You don't have drive shafts. I can't drive down there.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I can't go anywhere. I don't have drive shafts. And he goes, well, if it's wrong, then you're going to have all new drive shafts built. And I was like, yeah, but if I come down there and take them back home and then have to come back down again to drop them off and tell you that everything's good, that's 2 hours out of the 16 that I have to get these built. And apparently that 16 I have to get them built went right over his head. So he was like, no, I don't want to do this until we confirm that the flanges are correct.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, whatever. So I flew down there really quick, dropped what I was doing, picked up a flange, and he goes, you know what? Just hold on to the flange until you pick up your drive shafts. we can order multiple flanges. If it's the right one, just call me and tell me, and we have some more in stock.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
So you don't have to drive back.
Exactly. So I don't have to drive back.
Then, yeah.
That was nice. Saved me half an hour there. And so I went home, put it up to the flange on the third member. I was like, fits perfectly. Call him. I'm like, cool. All right. Fits perfectly. He goes, all right, sweet. I'm going to put your order in and we'll get you going. I said, awesome. Thank you. And that was it.
Yeah.
So that was Tuesday
morning.
That was Tuesday morning. And by the time we confirmed the flange was all good, it was about 1 p.m.
Okay.
Noon to 1 p.m. So Wednesday comes around.
Yeah.
And I'm got all the wiring done except the lockers.
Okay.
I just needed to wire up the lockers. So I'm just kind of taking my time, waiting to hear if they call. I was told that they should have it out by noon on Wednesday. So I'm like, okay. So I'm kind of waiting around, and noon comes, no call. 1 p.m. comes, no call. 2 p.m. comes, no call. 3, 4 o'clock. Finally at 4 o'clock, I'm like, these guys close at 5. So I call him at 4.
Yeah.
I talked to the guy who's been helping me, the sales guy, and he goes, I was like, hey, I'm just checking in, where are we at on the drive shafts? Because you guys close in like an hour, right? And he goes, yeah. I was like, okay, so are we getting done today? I'm supposed to be up in the mountains at Loon Lake, an hour ago. So how are we looking? He kind of paused for a second. He goes, we haven't even started your drive shafts.
Oh no.
I was like, what do you mean you haven't started my drive shafts? And he goes, yeah, nobody told me you were on a deadline. Like you're right now, you're in queue and your drive shafts are going to get done Thursday or Friday. And I was like, I'm not going to be here Thursday or Friday.
Right.
I was like, I'm supposed to be leading a run for an off-road event on the Rubicon Trail tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm supposed to be up at the camp right now, helping make dinner and get dinner ready.
Right.
And he goes, oh, that wasn't communicated to me at all. He goes, you didn't tell me. I was like, I talked with Mike over the weekend, and I talked with Hank yesterday morning when I dropped everything off. And he goes, oh, yeah. Yeah, nobody ever told me that. And I was like,
damn it.
I was like, God damn it. So anyways, like, how fast are you guys going to be able to get these done? Like, can you guys get them done tomorrow morning? Like Thursday morning, and I'll just skip the run and maybe come in down Cadillac and say hi to everybody, like go in that way, or maybe run and catch up to everybody. Like, I don't know. And he was like, let me talk to some people. Let me call you back.
Yeah. Okay.
So he calls me back about 4:30 and he goes, yeah, we can get it out by noon for you tomorrow. I said, all right. This has to happen. Like, we need to have this out. Like, this needs to happen here. And I said, fine, get it done. I'll get them put on, and then I'll tow up to Tahoe and come down Cadillac and meet everybody in Springs.
Yeah.
And so I got a phone call at 11:55 a.m. Thursday morning that the drive shafts were done.
Okay.
So I went down and picked them up and brought them back, put them on, had them on and installed and everything packed and ready to go by 2. So left Sacramento about 2:30, got up to Tahoe about 4:35 o'clock, and dropped down Cadillac into the Springs. So
awesome. And that's when you got to experience everything.
That's when I finally got to experience everything. I did drive it around the block once.
Oh, yeah.
To make sure that everything worked and the rig
running.
moved. Yeah. The rig moved. But other than that, I drove it around the block, and then when I parked it up on the trailer.
Yeah.
So
sweet. I was going to say I was like, because when I found out that the drive shafts weren't in, I'm like, well, you can get the rig packed. You can put it on the trailer. You can get everything hooked up and ready to go. And then once those drive shafts come in, you can just put them in and you can take off. And I was like, wait, how's he going to put him how's he going to put his rig on the trailer? Yeah. I mean, I guess he could pull up there with the winch, but the winch wasn't installed.
Wasn't installed. I would have had to put a strap on it and pull it off of a pulley using the Bronco.
Yeah.
To get it up there.
Yeah. So I was like, oh crap, he can't even do that.
Yeah. So, I went out on the Rubicon for a Rubithon with no bumpers, front or rear, no winch. Just the brand new build. One real fun thing that I'm happy I did.
Yeah.
Was I got a new battery for the rig as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That lithium one.
Mm-hmm. So that came in. I got that all installed. Hussman came over and helped me for a few hours kind of get things settled on the rig and do a nut and bolt check on everything and help install the battery box while I was doing all the routing with the wiring and setting up all the wiring.
Okay.
And so it was really fun to see him and hang out with him for a little bit. And I got the battery installed, and that battery works awesome.
Cool.
It's a $1,300 battery.
Yeah, that's expensive.
Which hurt to buy, but it's an awesome freaking battery.
So did you end up putting it in your bed or your trunk area?
Yeah, it's in the cargo area in a battery box. And then I have there's only 2 battery leads coming out of it, a load and a ground.
Yeah.
And they're 2-watt cable.
Damn.
Okay. And it goes out of the battery box, and I cut a hole in that little door into the rear quarter panel area.
Okay.
The hatch on the inside of the cargo area, I cut a hole in it and then ran the batteries through the hole, and then they go down and out another hole that I cut into the bottom of the quarter panel area. So they come out there. The ground goes directly to the frame, and the load goes down the frame rail all the way to the engine bay, where I have 1, 2, 3,
5 fuse setups,
3 fuse boxes, and then the main engine fuse box.
Right.
So 4 different fuse boxes where it all kind of goes out from power there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think we should start calling it Frankenstein.
It pretty much, I mean, it's not, it's a Frankenstein of a vehicle now that works amazingly.
Yes.
If you think about it, I'm pretty much a buggy with tinted windows and air conditioning now.
Kind of. Yeah.
And a full body, but
yeah, and
like
full
the body,
and no cage.
And no cage yet.
Yeah.
The cage is on the way. There's plans for that. We'll talk about that later, but the body is so much smaller than the axles.
Yeah.
That I'm not coming close to hitting the body on anything.
Almost your entire tire hanging out beyond the wheel wells.
The rear is the entire tire.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. The front has, I think, 1.5 inches of the tire still within the wheel well.
That's nuts.
But yeah.
Looks so good, man. I'm super excited to jump in it and ride one time on the trail, check it out, see how things are, experience the 4-wheel underground kits.
Yep.
I'm stoked for you. I'm happy. I know that you're just giddy with joy and how this thing came out. So that's rad.
Yeah. The 4-wheel underground, the suspension and axles and everything combined, performs awesome on the trail. It drives even better on the street.
Oh yeah. I'm better than leaf springs. I believe it.
Way better than leaf springs. When I did the caster on the knuckles and the C's, I set it up for, roughly 9 degrees caster. And I did that without being able to take measurements on the front drive shaft to make sure that I'm pointed the pinion directly where my transfer case would be.
Yeah.
So my caster ended up being a positive 7 to 7.5 degrees.
Okay.
And that it makes the rig drive so straight.
Oh, cool.
And everything is nice and tight on the road. I can corner faster. It's awesome. Awesome driving it around on the road now too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Now we just need to either build you like fender flares or mud flaps or something, huh?
Something. Yeah. I've been driving it around on the road the past couple of days to get the gear break-in done. But yeah, I need fenders, something to keep the cops happy and not destroy people's windshields behind me.
Yes.
So yeah, it's I'm absolutely in love with it. I love the way it turned out. I have a couple more things to tidy up. I completely welded on my front bumper last night. So
why'd you even put the bolts in it then?
Because I'm not able to get on the back side of the upper of the bumper. So if anything is pulling off of the front, I'm afraid that it might start peeling the welds.
Oh.
So the bolts are in there just kind of as a precaution. But for the most part, it's all glued on there.
Yeah. I was like, the bolts are there just to hold it in place for when you welded it.
Kind of. Yeah, pretty much. I just didn't take them out. So I did that. The winch is mounted on the super winch. I had to modify
good too.
I had to modify the bumper slightly to get that in there. I got the light bar back on. I don't have the siren on yet. And then I'm changing up how the stereo system is going to work inside. So I'm just using a little Bluetooth speaker for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad for you. I know.
It is sad. I miss my stereo system in there.
I need my subwoofers.
I need my sub. So yeah, I was able to run the trip without a subwoofer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was nice not having the subwoofer in there for space and packaging. I was able to just throw everything into the back and not have to worry about how to package.
Sure. Because now you can lay the seats down and everything, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'm now figuring out how to redo the stereo system and not have a subwoofer, but still get good audio.
Yeah. Sure, there's some audiophile geeks out there that might have a good suggestion for you.
I have a couple of good ones that I think I'm going to go with. So I just need to look at pricing and availability and how I want to do it and set it all up. But yeah, all I need going to Barrett Lake this weekend.
Right.
I just need a rear bumper, and I don't really need it, but it would be nice to have on there so I don't crunch any of the bodies.
There's a safety factor there. That's nice.
The rear bumper, I need to do a nut and bolt check. A couple of my jam nuts came loose.
Sure. There's no issue with throwing the rear bumper on, right? There's nothing changed in the rear frame or anything, so you can just bolt it right back up.
Should be able to bolt it right back up. Yeah. Which will be nice. So I got to do that. Nut and bolt check. I want to paint pen everything. And I think that's it for, and wire up the winch. I need to wire the winch for Barrett. So.
Cool. Well, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you. This is really cool. It looks fantastic.
Yep. I'm excited about it all.
How can people find photos of it?
On Instagram. I've been posting a lot of photos over at 4x4 Toyota Tyler of it flexing out. I've got a lot of photos from the trip this weekend that we'll be putting up there. I kind of did a highlights from Friday, and we're going to have some more that have been coming out from other people from the weekend. So, yeah, 4x4 Toyota Tyler over on IG.
There you go. Mm-hmm. And if anybody has any other questions, you can always reach me at Snail Trail 4x4 on Instagram. You can find us, Jimmy or Tyler, at snailtrail4x4.com. Or you can phone in 916-345-4744.
I like it. And with that, Jimmy Jet, do you have any final words for everybody?
Now you've put like ants in my pants, and I can't wait to get Samantha done.
Samantha's going to be so nice.
It is. I'm excited.
And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
Okay.
So the other day, I was a little desperate, and I bought some shoes from a drug dealer.
Okay.
I don't know what he laced them with, but I was tripping all day.
Okay, that's a decent one.
Is it?
Decent.
Just decent?
Just decent.
All